Hi, welcome back to a brand new video of the Targeted Individual Program, Target Individual Experience. So again, I want you guys to understand how they will use and how they enter the school system, stuff like that. This is an automated message that came from my son's teacher. Okay, and again, about no, there's no date on this. It just says yesterday, right? I want to ask Ethan about this chemistry test. He's like, well, he didn't know anything about a chemistry test, but he told me that he took a chemistry test. What was it right before he left on vacation? Right with what's it spring break? Okay, so right before he left for spring break, which was a Friday, that he took the chemistry exam. So it's interesting. I'm saying to myself, okay, did they hack into the Jupiter site and automatically send a message to her? Okay, but again, they just to test my memory, right? Because like I said, she called me as soon as I was getting ready to go pick up Alyssa. Oh no, sorry, no, not pick up Alyssa. I think I was making something to eat. All right. So again, this is again the testing your memory to see if you remember and such and blah blah blah. This is why, like I said, when I call her back, because Ethan didn't know anything about it, she never answered her phone. She didn't answer her phone, right? And again, particularly, like I said, she's been texting me and calling me this week. I don't know why she hasn't done that before in a while. Like I said, so why she's doing that now, right? But again, how she's being manipulated, how she's being used, and I guess I want you guys to understand. So what these people are doing again is using the religious belief system as a tool to mask the use of their weapon, right? Microwave and radio frequency that has been created and developed to hijack our consciousness, right? Without even realizing what is going on. Okay? So this is why we have, and then again, we'll use victims of non-consensual human experimentation to engage in to manipulate and to also engage in manipulating the public so that the public can become more and more religious. Okay, Robert J. Lipton, the 8 criteria of thought reform. All right, I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. All right, Robert J. Lipton, 8 criteria of thought reform as applied to the executive success programs. Okay, milieu control. Control of communication within the group environment resulted in a significant degree of isolation from the surrounding society. Includes other techniques to restrict members' contact with outside the world and to be able to make critical, rational judgment about information. Overworked, busyness, multiple lengthy meetings, etc. Lipton, the most basic feature of thought reform environment, the psychological current upon which all else depends, is the control of human communication. This includes not only the individual communication with the outside, but also his or her communication with himself. Thought reform participants may be in doubt as to who is telling what to whom, but the fact that extensive information about everyone is being conveyed to the authorities is always known. Having experienced the impact of what they consider to be the ultimate truth, they consider it their duty to create an environment containing no more and no less that is truth. And then the group member is deprived of the combination of external information and inner reflection which anyone requires to test the realities of his or her environment and to maintain a measure of identity separate from it. Okay, phone tree. Each new. Okay, this is again Let's look for here. Let's go skip all that, right? Uh, Mystical manipulation. This is key, and I want TIs to understand what's going on and how the technology is used in combination with the mind control or the thought reform that's being done. Okay, and mind you, okay, depending on how you're being targeted and what their agenda is, right? Remember, they'll turn you into the villain, right? Not only would they weaponize you at first, but then they'll weaponize the people around you. Okay, after weaponizing you, after manipulating you, after using agents, provocateurs to engage in covert warfare and covert psychological warfare against you, right? And then the technology again being used to and the cult members are being manipulated into believing that this is supernatural, this is God, and all this nonsense. But we know that they have developed the technology to control our minds using radio and microwave frequency decades ago, right? But because the public is ignorant to technology, particularly as black people, this is why I keep saying, go and look at the statistics. See which group of people are the most religious, which group of people are the least religious, so you can understand exactly what I'm talking about, all right? Now, 2, mystical manipulation. The claim of divine authority or spiritual advancement that allows the leader to interpret events as he or she wishes, or to make prophecies or pronouncements at will, all for the purpose of controlling group members. Lipton, the inevitable next step after Milieu control is extensive personal manipulation initiated from above. It seeks to provoke specific patterns of behavior and emotions in such a way that these will appear to have risen spontaneously from within the environment. Ideological totalists are impelled by a special kind of mystique which not only justifies such manipulations but makes them mandatory. They are the agents chosen by history, by God, by some other supernatural force to carry out mystical imperative, the pursuit of which must supersede all consideration of decency or of immediate human welfare. Similarly, any thought or action which question the higher purpose is considered to be simulated by a lower purpose to be backwards, selfish, and petty in the face of the great overriding mission. Okay? Again, sometimes because I'm exposed them, they will try to send me subliminal message that I'm giving out information to our adversaries, right? Right? Then they try to label me as a spy. First of all, you don't have the right to do what you're doing to me or anybody else, right? And then try to prevent me from exposing it because you don't want our adversary to know what you're doing or to know that you've developed these type of weapons to control the minds of the masses. They already know this. I'm just giving us as TI's confirmation, as well as our family members, as well as this broader society. And if there's an adversary out there who's looking at my video, then they need, I don't know what to tell you, right? You know what I'm saying? I want to tell you, that's your fault. That's not my fault. That's your fault. Okay? And I'm talking about the dark triads in positions of power, and within the security agencies, law enforcement agencies are within the military. That's not my problem. That's your problem. Okay? Now they're using the call alarms, right? So they stop with the sirens, stuff like that. Now they're using the call alarms. All right. At the level of the individual person, the psychological responses to this manipulative approach revolve about the basic polarity of trust and mistrust. One is asked to accept these manipulations on the basis of truth or faith. When trust gives way to mistrust, the higher purpose cannot serve as adequate emotional sustenance. The individual then responds to the manipulation through developing the psychology of the pawn, okay? Feeling himself unable to escape from forces more powerful than himself, he subordinates everything to adapt himself to them. He becomes sensitive to all kinds of cues, expert at anticipating environmental pressures, and skillful in riding them in such a way that his psychological energies merge with the tide rather than turn painfully against himself. This requires that he participate actively in the manipulation of others, as well as the needless round of betrayal and self-betrayal which are required. So these are the tests that they always do to take away your trust of the people around you, like how they use Pam against me, right? Like what they're doing today, right? And again, I'm showing you guys a real example, and I'm giving you guys the psychological uh, uh, definition, tactics, and method, and to show you what is that they're doing. Yeah, keep on with the noise campaign. Go ahead. Okay. But whenever his response, but whatever his response, his or her response, he or she has been deprived of the opportunity to exercise his capacities of self-expression and independent action. Okay. So here's it says please see example under sacred science, right? So I want you to understand that even though they have their cult members, the religious fanatics believing in this religious thing, what they're practicing is sacred science. The use of science in order to manipulate the minds of not just you and I as TIs, but also those who they get to engage in participating in the psychological operation against us. Okay? In addition, the idea of the white sash has not been a suppressive person implied by active manipulation of others, reporting on others that they must be loyal to the cause of the ESP. All right. Again, not going to go through all of that stuff, the man for purity and all this stuff, because that's not what I want you guys to understand. Okay. But there's a few. Remember, there's 8 criteria, right? So there's a cult of confession where they try to use the use of the police to try to bring you to a point where they try to, again, have you into this create a criminalistic mindset within you to where you confess to false, which is what is called false confession. Okay. All right. And to try to make it seem, if you read, there's the book. This is the book I'm talking about called what is it called? The Grape of the Mind, right? It's not really grape, but I can't say the word because YouTube algorithms, right? The Grape of the Mind by Joost Joost M.A. Milo. This is in. I mean, it's like to a T. This is you guys got to get that book. All right. So again, let's see. I just wanted to read those two, and then the sacred science. The doctrine of the group is considered the ultimate truth beyond all question or disputing, and so on. So the whole God thing spoken. Leaders of the group is likewise above criticism of the spokesperson for God on earth, right? So they consider themselves to be God, messenger, and those underneath them. These are the destructive cult members and their leaders. So their leaders are telling their members that they are the prophet of God. Again, but if they read the Bible, you have no more prophet of God's. God don't speak to you anymore. Just you got to go to your Bible if you want to understand the word of text. But you need to go to somebody who can translate what it is that you're going through. Go to the text and give you the proper interpretation. Right? No, God is not speaking to you or anybody else. Not even speaking to me. I know sometimes I say God told me this, but I just say that because again, the religious indoctrinative mindset of these people, again, they always talk about God speaking to them. Okay, that's not God speaking to you. That's silent sound or your own or the double mindset that they've created within your mind. Okay, because you remember the CIA they're expert at splitting people's personality, creating people within the society with multiple personalities. Okay, they can do that. If you don't believe me, then hey, I don't know what to tell you. Let's go again. Let's see here. Yeah. See, you hear all that noise going on out there? Yeah. Whenever I scroll up or scroll down on the text, they'll do that. Loading the language. So when I talk about, again, certain things that have been implanted into my mind, when I do certain things, certain words that comes out of my mind, or certain phrases, or some emotions, what have you, negative emotions, negative word patterns, this is what I'm talking about. Okay? But they do it in such a way that using silent sound, using microwave radio wave frequency to embed these anchors and triggers within your mind. Okay, doctrine of a person. Again, that's tactic 7. And number 8 is dispensing of existence. So I talk about how they try to take away your humanity, right? So sometimes when they're targeting me, like the word human is being said, they will use the sirens at times. At times they will use their car horn, like you just hear. So since I've been doing this video, I want you guys to pay attention to all the noise that's going on outside. Okay, because whenever I start to do a video like this where I'm proving, right, and I'm giving you guys not just my example of what's been done to me, but I'm showing you also the psychological terminology, the psychological tactics. They don't like that because again, this is information that they don't want you to know and don't want you to have. Okay. Okay. So, um, and again, the use of the religious indoctrinated sheeps. So again, I call it you satanic and all this stuff and blah blah blah. But what they don't really understand that is that this is what the Catholic Church have done. With the Catholic Church, what they have done is that they've created this religion, and they turned everything upside down. They turned everything backwards. So if you go and read, I was talking to my daughter's school, the principal. If you go and read the Gnostic scriptures, right? The Gnostic scriptures, okay, where Jesus is telling you, right, that Seth is who they call Satan, right? But Jesus is saying that, as a matter of fact, I'm going to show you guys, okay, just so you guys, again, I hate to just say things without giving you guys examples, so I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. Just give me a sec. All right, so if you Google the Gospel of Judas, you can also if you also Google the Gnostic scriptures, you can get the book for free. Okay, yeah, you can buy it, whichever one. And here, this is the I'm going to go onto a religious website, right? Okay, this is the download version. All right, let's just go here. Okay. All right, the Gospel of Judas. Okay. Now here, let me get to that page I'm talking about. Let me see here. Give me a sec. Now I want you again. So when you see people making these so-called sacrifices over the altar and stuff like that, Jesus is telling you in this that do not. He says, stop sacrificing which you have over the altar, since they are over your stars and your angels, and have already come to their conclusion there. So let them be ensnared before you and let them go. About 15 lines of they talk about because some of those lines are missing in these documents that they found, because these things are over a thousand, what is it, 2,000 years old. Okay, I should tell you. And they found this in a cave. Okay, because at the time we talk about the Judean Roman wars, the Judeans actually hid these scriptures because they knew what the Romans were doing, right? And so they wanted to save these texts. Okay, now I want you to listen to this. Okay, listen to this. I'm going to read this. Adamus, it says Adamus under. This is where Jesus is talking to Judas, because he already knew what Judas was going to do, and he told Judas the sacred beginnings, right? I would say. Okay, so listen to this. All right, Jesus teaches Judas about cosmology, the spirit and the self-generated. So the Catholic Church and the Romans, they took they took the Christ out of each and every one of us and gave us religion, and taught us to look for Christ outside of ourselves, that Christ is coming back. And the reason why they did that, because they knew the definition of a Christ, not of the word Christ, right? They knew the definition of that. It means a person who has been anointed, right? It could be a priest, it could be a general, it can be a leader of a rebellion, of a revolution, right? Just like Malcolm X, just like Martin Luther King, just like Dr. Khalid Muhammad, just like Bob Marley, just like Nat Turner, just like Toussaint Louverture, just like Patrice Lumumba, just like Stephen Biko, just as Nelson Mandela. But they killed the Christ within him. By the time he came out of prison, he no longer had the Christ consciousness. Okay, you know what I'm saying, just like these young African leaders today who was rebelling against Western corporation, who have been uh, uh, reaping all the benefits of their country's natural resources and leaving the people poor and destitute. All right, and these young men who have come into the Christ consciousness said, "This is enough. This is enough." Right? I can attribute that to early American settlers when they rebel against King George. They had reached a Christ consciousness. Now you have your good Christ and you have your bad Christ. So you got to understand that it is a consciousness. Okay. So let me continue. Okay, I'll give you guys a lesson here, because like I said, whenever they do attack me like this, they just light that fire. Okay, yeah, they're gonna create that Christ consciousness. Okay, it's coming. All right. So Jesus teaches Judas about cosmology, the spirit, and the self-generated. Jesus said, "Come, that I may teach you about secrets no person has ever seen." Now he's telling this to Judas. Okay. Even though he know, because you got to, if you read the New Testament, Jesus, when Jesus took a walk with Judas to let Judas know that I know that you're going to I know that you're going to deceive me, that you're going to hand me over to the Romans, right? So and that's all they tell you, right? But again, the Bible have missing texts. That's what I said. You have to go and read the Gnostic scriptures, because it will explain some of the things that if you have questions about in your Bible, this reading these texts will explain a lot of those things. But it'll also give you a different idea of who Christ was. I'm not who Christ was, but who Jesus was. Okay, because Jesus was not the Christ. As Jesus said, many will come in my name saying that I am the Christ. But you see how Christians interpret it today is that many will come in his name saying that they are the Christ. But that's not what it says in the Bible. Okay? They're reading it wrong. Jesus said, many will come in my name saying that I am the Christ. Right? Because imagine if Jesus was saying, well, many will come using my name saying that they are the Christ. See, that's how he said. But he's saying that many will come in his name, professing that he is the Christ. Jesus is the Christ, and he is not. Okay? Again, I'm going to prove it to you. Jesus said, "Come, and I may teach you about secrets no person has ever seen. For there exists a great and boundless system whose extent no generations of angels have seen, in which there is a great invisible spirit, which no eye of an angel has ever seen, no thought of the heart has ever comprehended, and it was never called by any name. And a luminous cloud appeared there, he said, let an angel come into being as my attendant. A great angel, the enlightened, divine, self-generated, emerged from the cloud. Because of him, 4 other angels came into being from another cloud, and they became attendants for the angelic self-generated." So the self-generated said, "Let's come into being," and it came into being. So again, Jesus is talking about when you go back to Kemetic spiritual system, right? Particularly the Kemetic creation story, in which the word, God spoke. In the Christian Bible it says God spoke the word, let there be light. But that goes thousands of years before into the Kemetic system, where the Netta, the self-generated being, right, Ptah, right, spoke the word, and the word spoken came into consciousness, came into existence. Okay, consciousness. Now, when you apply that to science, okay, we're talking about the evolution of hominids, right, over millions of years to where you had the last of the hominid, which is us modern day human beings, when we start to realize our own consciousness, right? That so we start to create things because our consciousness came into being. All right. So you got to understand the metaphors that are being used. Okay. And again, that's just the way how they explain it is in the form of mythology. Okay. So, and it came into being, and he created the first luminary to reign over him. He said, "Let angels come into being to serve him." Or her, could be a her, right? Again, how these white Europeans, right, disdainful women, how they remove women out of the divine creative, out of the divine creation, right? Wouldn't it be a shocker if when you realize that, God is indeed, the so-called God is indeed a woman? If you go back to every version of hominids on this planet, the female always comes first. The female was developed first. Okay? All right, so come into being to serve him, and myriads without number came into being. He said, "Let an enlightened eon come into being." And he came into being. He created a second luminary to reign over him, together with myriads of angels without number, and to offer service. That is how he created the rest of the enlightened eons. Okay? He made them reign over them, and he created for them myriads of angels without number to assist them. Adamas and the luminaries. Adamas was the first luminary cloud that no angel had ever seen among all those called God. Now here he said Adamas was the first luminary cloud that had no angel has ever seen among all those called God. So there were many gods. Okay? He, again, those missing is just a text that were missing. They just didn't survive the long storage of where they were at, right? The image and after the likeness of this angel, he made the incorruptible generation of Seth appear. The 24, he made 72 luminaries appear. And again, you go back to Islam, they talk about, for those warriors that die in their jihads, when they die, they go to heaven, and there are 72 virgins waiting for them, right? So there's always, again, you got to pay attention to the repetitions of these numbers, okay? So, he made 72 luminaries appear in the incorruptible generation in accordance with the will of the Spirit. The 72 luminaries themselves made 360 luminaries appear in the incorruptible generation in accordance with the will of the Spirit, that their number should be 5 for each. The 12 eons of the 12 luminaries constitute their father. Remember, he's teaching Judas about cosmology. So let's go back 5,000 years, where ancient Kemetic people were studying the planets. Okay? So, Saturn became Set, who became Satan. Right? There's 12 zodiac signs. Right? But again, people don't quite understand, because if you don't have that sort of knowledge, or what they call what is it? What's the word I'm looking for here? Oof. Anyway, but if you don't have knowledge, then what they give you to read and to believe in, that's what you're going to believe in, because you don't know the truth. If they're giving you lies, and they've always given you lies, they teach you lies, then your whole life is going to be a lie. Your whole belief system is going to be a lie. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so the 12 eons of the 12 luminaries constitute their father, with 6 heavens for each eon, so that there are 72 heavens for the 72 luminaries, and for each 50 of them, 5 filaments, for a total of 360 filaments. And I said 360, they start using the horn, right? Because again, the threat of them trying to extort money from me, right? Right? They were given authority and a great host of angels without number for glory and adoration, and after that also virgin spirits. So where did the Muslim get the idea of the 72 virgins? Okay. Okay, I mean, come on now. For glory and adoration of all the eons and the heaven and the firmament. Right? The cosmos, chaos, and the underworld. Okay? The multitude of those immortals is called the cosmos. That is perdition by the Father and the 72 luminaries who are with the self-generated, and his 72 eons. In him the first human appear with his incorruptible powers, and the eon angel is called El. Okay, so what's the name of God in the in Canaanite and Hebrew mythology? El, right? Not Elohim, because Elohim means more than one God. Elohim is plural for God. Okay? So again, how many people know that? But El, who is Jehovah. Okay? Yeah, and that said, let 12 angels come onto being to rule over chaos and the underworld. So your God El is actually the God of the underworld. Your God Jehovah is actually the God of the underworld. Okay? So now, and look, I'm laughing because, when I'm not laughing in terms of the people who believe in this, but I'm laughing because, they have hidden all these sources of information from us. And they have to go to so much extent to lie. So this is what I want you guys to understand. Right? That they are liars. They are liars. Okay? Come into the underworld. And look, from the cloud there appear an angel whose face flashed with fire, and whose appearance was defiled with blood. His name was Nebo, which means rebel. Others call him Yadabiat. Another angel, Saklas, also came from the cloud, so Nebo created 6 angels as well as Saklash to be assistants, and these produced 12 angels in the heaven, with each one receiving a portion of the heaven. Right? So if you read in your Bible, it talks about where Elohim, when the Jehovah was given his portion, right? His portion was who? Jacob. Okay? Go and read it. You guys will understand. Now, the rulers and the angels. Okay, so the rulers and angels. The 12 rulers spoke with the 12 angels. Let each of you, and let them blank generation one line angels, right? Here, the first is Seth, who is called Christ. The second is Hamabol, who is, again, missing line. The third is Galiah. The fourth is Yobel. The fifth, Adonias. Okay, let's go here. These are the five who rule over the underworld, and first of all over chaos, the creation of humanity. Then Saklash said to his angels, again, Saklash, again, listen to this. Let us, who is also El, Saklash is El, because you don't see how he doesn't, when he called out the five, right, he doesn't say El anymore, right? But again, El is Saklash, okay? The creation of humanity. Then Saklash said to his angels, let us create a human being after the likeness and after the image. They fashioned Adam and his wife Eve, who was called in the cloud Zoe. For by this name all the generations seek the man, and each of them calls the woman by these names. Now Sakla did not command whatever said the generations this, and the ruler said to Adam, you shall live long, and your children. So I'm going to end this here because again, I just want to explain to you guys, right? These texts, right, are part of what is called the Naharabi Gospels, right? Because they were found in Naharabi, I forget, either somewhere in Turkey or something like that, or wherever it was. But the Catholic Church had these texts. This is part of the text in which they fashion your Christian Bible, right? Your Old Testament and your New Testament. Okay? Remember, I talk about this, right? Where there is no, the Hebrew language, there is no ancient Hebrew language before the conquer of Greece by Alexander the Greek. I'll call him Great. Let's call him the Greek. Alexander the Greek, right? But you had people who call themselves Israelites and Hebrews, and they all were in Egypt, right? They weren't in the so-called Middle East today or whatever they want to, what is Palestine today. They didn't originate there. They came right out of Egypt. These are people who started to believe, again, after Akhenaten. Akhenaten is the pharaoh who, again, came up with monotheism, the concept of one God, right? And because of that, he was, he didn't reign long, and he was expelled. Okay? So again, like I said, they can keep prodding, but I'm gonna keep exposing the truth. And the more they prod at me, and the more they try to manipulate me into going back into Christianity, the more truth I'm going to expose about Christianity. I will never go back to that nonsense. Okay? So, okay, let's see, where was I again? All right, so you guys can go read this article. Why did the church reject the Gospels? See, they didn't reject all of it because they took from it what they wanted to take from it to create their new religion, and then they tried to burn the evidence, the proof, right? But you had others who believed in the text and saved it. All right, so that's how we have it today. Okay, so I'll talk to you guys in the next video.